Hey everybody, welcome back. Doom here. We're in 3.5 Monster Manual, and we're on the entry for Hydra. This is part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, go ahead and check that out. This is what the Hydra in the book looks like, and that's not what our Hydra looks like. I will be honest with you. This is our Hydra, and he's got 9 heads, and let's get started. I'm just going to grab a piece of cardboard here and some of this burnt umber paint. And I'm going to get a good base coat on him with a soft brush. And for my soft brush, I'm just using this Dollar Tree makeup brush to try to get in cracks and stuff and make this initial paint job easier on myself. You don't need to hit every little nook and cranny, I don't suppose, but you don't want to leave a bunch black either. So I think the smart move is to try to cover as much as you can with it. And you're going to have to get a smaller brush like I'm going to have to do to get up underneath there and get the legs inside and stuff. But oh, I hear some sirens. Something exciting going on. Not involving me. Of course, it's probably best when it's not involving you, huh? Sometimes life seems a little boring. I used to be in the military, and I like get these like fantasy situations where I get to do something heroic in real life, you know, in the civilian world, and it never happens. Anytime anything where I have a chance to be heroic comes up, I ultimately make a violent decision instead, and I don't know how to explain it without sounding like a complete jerk, but like a guy tried to catch me on fire at a gas station and he failed, and instead of like peacefully restraining him, I slammed him on the concrete and ground his head down a little bit and stuff. Just, you know, you have these opportunities to be this good, peaceful, decent human being, and I always like in my head fantasize that I'm going to do that, and then when it comes to the situation, I'm just aggressive and hateful, and I don't know. It's hard to explain. Probably shouldn't even be talking about that stuff. Violence is not good. Well, I honestly think that we were able to get a good bit of coverage with that underneath here, even though I didn't think that was going to be the case. So I'm just going to grab a medium workhorse brush and pick up a little bit of spots that I missed, and we'll call it a win on this brown. So this is just a cheap brush that I probably should have wet before I used it, and I didn't. So I'm going to get a little bit of water now. We'll get up under here and get the inside of these legs and stuff nice and brown. Okay. Can't say I'm unhappy with the way he's looking. It's not like the book exactly. But for a dinosaur toy that was probably $1 and a bunch of other crappy little mini heads and some skewers that I was not doing anything else with. I mean, how much does a Hydra cost, you know, an official Hydra? Or even how much does it cost to buy a print, a STL of a Hydra? I don't know. I didn't look it up. I don't really look stuff up or care. I'm just making shit in my basement, dudes. Dudes and dudettes. Alright, so I think that's going to get our base coat pretty good. Now I'm going to get the +2 hot air gun burning. Now there's a spot right here on his neck where that glue kind of came loose. So I'm just going to hit that, because we want to make sure we have good, even coverage. Okay, there we go. Alright, so let's get a piece of cardboard and another makeup brush. And let's get a medium tone brown and break up his undercoat a little bit. This is just another Dollar Tree makeup brush. This is nothing spectacular or fancy. And I'm just hitting to have some variation. Nothing too fancy, nothing too spectacular. Just breaking up all that dark brown and making something kind of mid-tone. So there's still going to be some dark parts of him and some lighter parts of him as we go on with that. Get his head and neck kind of lightened up. Okay, let's set this off to the side. Hit him with the +2 hot air gun of burning because I know how much you guys like it when I use magic items. Now, where's that new mocha I bought? Oh, that's probably too light. Now I'm going to get this beige, territorial beige. And I'm going to do something with this. I'm just going to get a dab of that. I'm going to mix these together. Make sure I don't have too much paint on there. Okay, here we go. I'm going to hit the heads and the necks with that. Lighten that up good. I'm going to hit his body. Oops, sorry about that. Hit the camera there. I'm just going to bring this down to a nice, and there's some variation in there you can see from where we did the different colors of brown underneath. And it doesn't make an enormous difference, but it's noticeable, especially on these bigger models. Okay. Nice. Now it says their underside is light brown, but I'm going to leave it dark because I don't think it's going to add much to the model to try to get in there and do anything with that personally. But you can do what you want on yours. Getting another piece of cardboard here. I'm going to get one lighter color. And this is a new color I just bought. I had this in, what do you call that one? It's like half gloss and half matte satin. I had this in the satin already. I didn't know they had it in matte. I do this with my new colors, by the way. With my colors, by the way. All I'm doing is painting a little of that color on the lid, so that when I have it in my thing I sort my paint in, I can see what I'm doing. That's all that is. I'm getting that same brush. And I really want to take a lot of this off. I'm just going to keep going through pieces of cardboard here until I get that off there enough to where I think it's going to be good and not too much. Fortunately, I have plenty of cardboard laying around. Okay, here we go. Hit the heads. Like that. Come up on the tops of the necks. A little bit of his back. A little bit of his chest. Some of his tail. And I'm just going to real light, not pushing hard, just kind of drag it around to create a general consistency across them that looks okay. That's all I'm doing for his body, guys. I'm going to throw that in there. I'm going to come back and look at his base. For his base, these are cave dwellers. So I'm going to get my favorite color in the entire world and a really soft brush that has decent coverage. I'm going to paint this base gray. And I'm going to get my brush a little wet. This is by far one of my favorite colors on earth. This pavement color. Especially considering that it's like dirt cheap. They're like 2 for $1 or something. 58 cents, I think, maybe, actually, is what I paid for the new ones I just bought. I hadn't bought any for a long time. I was actually there looking for this and got other colors because they didn't have any of this pavement. I was watching some, what used to be called D&D News, now it's just Blanco, but I was watching some Caleb complaining about game stores and the D&D parties in them, and I actually didn't have the same experience as he had, so I can't really say much on what he was going through there. I assume some of you guys watch some of those channels too, like Blanco, where he goes and gets those thrift store finds. And if you're like me and you're making minis from scratch, there's certain topics that are probably interesting. Like if you guys aren't subscribed to Miniature Mashup, Dave O'Gara, he doesn't really put out a lot of content, but the content he has on there is really good. I'm going to get a medium gray and set it off to the side, and I'm going to hit this with the +2 hot air gun of burning because I know how much you guys like it when I use magic items. We're going to give that a chance to dry. Let's come back and look at our mouths. So we're going to get a small brush for this and some yellowish white. This is called skeleton bone. It's very yellowish white, maybe a khaki. And we're going to find any teeth that we have that we can do something with. We're just going to hit those teeth and lighten those up. It's not super noticeable, but I think it'll be more noticeable when we come back and hit it again with a white. So, and not all my mouths had teeth. Depending on what dinosaurs and dragons and stuff you had to make yours is going to have different kind of, you know what I mean? So I'm going to hit them once with the tan, the yellowish white, and then I'm going to come back with a brighter white. Now, this off-white I'm using now is like barely off-white, and it's called Mummy Robes. And I've been using this color a lot for everything. I really like it. If you're looking for a comparable craft color, antique white might be ish, but it's not quite. And let's get all these little eyes. And to do that, I'm going to go ahead and get my super crazy, insane Captain Insano detail brush that Mrs. Doom bought me for my birthday. Might as well use it. I messed up that guy's eye. That's okay. I showed you guys how to fix that. We'll fix that real quick. Okay. I'll flip them over and do the other sides. So to fix the spots that I messed up, I'm just getting the beige. That was our mid-tone color. For the dry brushes, it was our mid-tone color. I'm just going to get a dab of this. I'm going to go through and fix the wonky eyes. A little bit above it, a little bit below it, just a little line to straighten it up. Make the eye not so big and dumb. Okay. I'm gonna eat all the paint out of that brush. Yum, 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 yum. I was gonna do a red dot in all those, but I don't really think it's worth the effort on it at this point. So what I'm gonna do instead is I have that medium gray out. Except I didn't grab medium gray. Here we go. I got that medium gray. I'm going to turn this around. And I'm going to get a makeup brush. Something like this. From the Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to start dabbing around. And breaking up this base some with that. Giving it some variation. We don't want to go overboard. If it's a little wet, it's okay. I'm going to set that off to the side. I'm going to get a lighter color. And I'm going to hit this with a +2 hot air gun of burning. And I'm going to grab a makeup brush. Whatever one you have is fine. Small. Just like I'm just grabbing, it's just like the one I was just using. But I wasn't thinking and I threw that into my water. So now I have to grab a new one. This is a new granite gray I just bought. I already had this, but I was low. And I just took a little bit of that. Get a lot of that off. And then kind of hit around, catch some variation. on that base. Don't get it on your model. Okay. Now we're going to come back and do one little thing. We're going to do his toenails. And we're going to get that darker color that we hit his teeth with first to make his mouths look a little deeper. It's just a tan. We're going to... That's too much paint. There you go. We're just going to lightly drag those around. We're not putting a whole lot of focus on these because they're not a major part of the model, but they're there. I'm going to call that a win. So that is my Hydra. Let's look at the book. .35 Monster Manual and the Hydra in the book. And it is size huge, which is a 3-inch base, so it's pretty big. Here it is next to a standard size mini. So it's going to be a big fight. Now my necks aren't as thick as I would have liked, and they don't kind of like groove in as much. I could have went through and done a lot more work without the hot glue gun probably, or just doing layers with the super glue and stuff, and I didn't. Should have, didn't. And if you're just starting yours, you might want to think about how that's going to look if you leave it as skinny as mine. But when I throw this on the table, people are going to know it's a Hydra. People that know D&D are going to know it's a Hydra, and they're going to be like, oh shit, a Hydra. And that's what, you know, that's what it's about. Didn't know you had a Hydra mini. I didn't. Mwahahaha. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon, leave a comment, go to the website, buy some miniatures, join our Discord, hang out with us, paint minis, craft, play some RPGs, play some video games. Just we're trying to start a nice community of decent people there that are you know, just want to have a nice time and hang out. So a lot of us have kids and stuff. I noticed on there. I know I have like 4 sons myself. A lot of us have kids and stuff on there, so, you know, there's a lot of conversation and silliness going on. So, anyways, I'll see you next time.